What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Ryzeal Fiendsmith deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an insane deck that I'm currently playing competitively. And it's crazy how powerful this deck actually is. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Ice Ryzeal. Ice Ryzeal is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card has the ability you can special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. But if it's summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the X deck for the rest of the turn except rank 4 XZ monsters. But this card is an awesome effect that if it's normal summon, you can actually special summon a Ryzeal monster from your deck, basically being a tour guide for the deck. And the cool thing about this card is it actually leads into all of your Fiendsmith combos because you normal summon this card out, bring out your copy of EXT, get a search, and then either link summon into Moon or XZ summon into your copy of Exciton Knight, and then step into your Fiendsmith combos because they're all light Fiend monsters, which is insane, between your copy of Moon and Exciton Knight, which is insane. We then play 3 copies of EXT. EXT is definitely a 3 of in the build as well because this card has the ability you can special summon this card in your hand by sending an XZ monster from your X deck to the graveyard. And also this card has the ability, if this card is special summoned to your side of the field or it's normal summon and you control no other face-up monsters except level 4 or rank 4 monsters, you can actually add a Fire Thunder monster from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Sword Ryzeal. This card is definitely a 3 of as well in the deck. This card is a crazy powerful effect that if you have a Ryzeal monster in your field or graveyard, you can special summon this card from the hand, and also if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add a light Pyro monster from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Node. Node is great in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. This card is usually, if you have a face-up XZ monster on the field or in the graveyard, you can special summon this card from the hand, and this card is basically a Monster Reborn, letting you send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then target a Ryzeal monster in the graveyard and special summon it in defense position, but negate its effects, giving you an additional monster out on your side of the field, so you can basically go in for more XZ plays. We then play 3 copies of Engraver. Engraver is definitely a 3 of in the build and absolutely insane. You can actually discard this card to add your copy of Fiendsmith track from your deck to your hand, and it can also, if it's in your graveyard, shuffle 1 other light Fiend monster back in the deck or the X deck, and then once you do, you can special summon this card out to your side of the field, giving you an additional level 6 on your side of the field, so you can go in for your rank 6 plays, which is insane to be able to go in for your copy of Caesar going first. We then play a single copy of Lacrima. Lacrima is great in the deck as a 1-0 to be able to play because this card is basically a walking Foolish Burial and always counts as a Fiendsmith card because if it's normal or special summon, you get to send a Fiendsmith card from your deck to the graveyard, which is an awesome effect to be able to use. And during your opponent's turn, if this card's in the graveyard, quick effect, you can actually target a Fiendsmith Link monster in your graveyard, shuffle this card into the deck, and if you do, special summon that monster, which is a great effect to instantly bring back your copy of Requiem to your side of the field and put this card back in the deck so you can put it back on your side of the field to be able to send your copy of Fiendsmith in Paradise to the graveyard, so you can send Desiree to the graveyard and get a send from field to grave, which is great to be able to do. We then make a single copy of Lurie. Lurie is great as a 1-of in the build, just to be able to search all of your copy of Fiendsmith track, so you can discard to this grave and then be able to instantly special summon it back, so you can go in for Requiem, so you can go full Fiendsmith combo. We then play a single copy of Magnamut. Magnamut is really good as a hand trap in the deck, and plus it's a level 6 monster that's just absolutely crazy in the build, as it has the ability to draw a light or dark monster in either player's grave, banish, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, and if it's special summoned this way, or it's special summoned at all, you can actually activate this fact that during the end phase of this turn, you get to add a dragon monster from your deck or grave to hand, except another copy of this card, which is always going to be your copy of Druid's Worm, and Druid's Worm is just really good in the build as a 1-of, just to help you spot remove cards off the field, and it's a really good target to be able to search off your copy of Magnamut to give you an additional hand trap and monster on the field. Plus, these cards are level 6 dark, so you can easily use them with any of your Ryzeal monsters that are light to be able to step into a copy of Chaos Angel using a light and a dark monster. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the build, basically just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then also play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is really good at stopping your opponent's monster effects. We then play 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is really good in this deck as a 3-0 to basically just stop rogue decks and any decks that can't basically out this card. It's a really good card to break your opponent's board, and it's easy to out in this build. We then also play 3 copies of Fluoros. Fluoros is great in this deck as a 3-of and just absolutely insane as a hand trap this format to help you just draw cards, and it's just an absolutely insane card in this build. You could play Droll over it if you're looking for a little bit more of a budget option, but it's still really good in the build to be able to play, and I feel like this card does need to be main decked in this build just to help you draw into more of your starters and more of your hand traps. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you when you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Ryzeal Cross. Cross is awesome and a card you always want to search off your copy of Duo Drive, as this card actually makes your Ryzeal XZ monsters negates. This card is able you cannot XZ summon monsters with the same name as a card you control, and you can also target 2 Ryzeal cards in the graveyard and place them on the bottom of the deck in any order and then draw a card, which is a crazy power effect to help you draw into more hand traps. And also, once per turn, when a monster effect is activated by your opponent resolves, you can actually detach a material from a Ryzeal XZ monster you control, and if you do, negate that effect, which is a really powerful effect to instantly just negate one of your opponent's cards mid-chain, I will add, with this card, which is actually insane, and it's just really good as a 1-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Track. Track is really good in the deck, but I feel like 2 copies is really all you need. The 3rd copy just kept breaking whenever I would play 3 copies, but I feel like 2 copies is insane in the deck. Tell me just go full Fiendsmith combo, and it's great in this build. Just help you add your copy of Lurie to be able to discard it and then bring it out to your side of the field and then go full Fiendsmith combo. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is great this format and really good to help you draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster or look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle it in the deck. This card is so good to look at your opponent's hand and know what hand traps you do need to play through, and also just in case you need to get a 1-card starter, because all your Ryzeal monsters besides your copy of Node is a 1-card starter, which is insane. Speaking of 1-card starters, we also play 3 copies of Bonfire. Bonfire is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just add the exact monster you need from your deck to your hand, and it's just really good in this build. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Fiendsmith in Paradise. Fiendsmith in Paradise is really good as a 1-of in the build for its graveyard effect, that when this card is in your graveyard, you can actually banish this card to send a Fiendsmith monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard when your opponent special summons a monster, which is a great effect to instantly use this card's effect. Send your copy of Desiree to the graveyard so you can get a Send from Field to Grave, which is a great ability to be able to use. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of in the build as well, because this card just stops your opponent's monster effects and also locks down entire columns of spells and traps, which is insane, and goes along with all of our other hand traps in this build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of our main boss monster, Detonator. This card is an amazing card that has a crazy power effect that when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card and then target a card that on the field and destroy it. And that is not a once per turn effect. That's not even a once per chain effect. That's every time your opponent activates a card, which is absolutely insane. But you can only use each of the following effects this card once per turn. That if this card is special summon, you can actually attach a monster from the graveyard to this card's material. And if an XZ material or an XZ monster you control would be destroyed by a battle of a card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead, giving you a little bit of protection, which is absolutely crazy. We then play a single copy of Duo Drive. Duo Drive is really good in the deck to help you search cards. When this card is XZ summon, you can actually attach one of your Ryzeal monsters from the graveyard to this card as a material. And also this card is a great effect that you can actually detach 2 materials from this card, and then actually add 2 Ryzeal cards with different names from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to add your copy of Cross and Node, or for follow-up, you can even add a copy of Ice for next turn, which is absolutely crazy. But this card is really good in the deck as a 1-of. With my single copy of Eclipse Twins, this card is absolutely broken. This card has the ability that basically, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually target 2 other rank 4 or lower XZ monsters in the grave, and special summon one of them and attach the other to it as a material, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to do, to instantly summon out your copy of Detonator just in case it goes to the graveyard, and it's just absolutely insane to be able to use in this deck. With my single copy of Exciton Knight, Exciton Knight's really good in the deck to be able to go in for your Fiendsmith combos or to be able to board wipe the field. As this card is a Fiend and Light, you can use it for Fiendsmith, which is really good, but it's really insane as build as a 1-up. With my single copy of Abyss Dweller is great at locking down the graveyard, so I play this card as a 1-up. You may see a copy of Wave High King Caesar. This card is just really good as a double negate in the deck and absolutely insane to be able to use. I really like this card overall in the build to be able to basically just summon out going full Fiendsmith combo, so we can basically just lock our opponent down. And like I see a copy of Aggregator. Aggregator is just too good not to play in this deck. It's basically a negate when it touches the graveyard, and it's really good to send the graveyard of EXT, so you can attach to your copy of Detonator, so that when you detach from Detonator, it'll basically just use it as a negate as well, which is absolutely insane and just really good in this deck. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's great going second, and just a really good option just in case you need it to bounce cards off the field, but it is a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters, which is a little bit of a downside, but it's really good in this build. With my single copy of Chaos Angel, if you summon this card out in the deck, you're probably going to instantly win. If it touches the field, it does spot remove a card off the field, and you don't even have to use a tuner to make this card, and it's just really good in the deck as a 1-of. We then play a single copy of Desiree. Desiree is rarely summoned in this deck, but it's really good as a 1-of. It does come up every so often, but you usually just use it for your copy of the trap card Paradise, because if this card is sent to the grave, you can shuffle one other light fiend monster from your graveyard in the deck, or the X deck, target one card on the field, and send it to the graveyard, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use, just to help you out cards on the field. Plus, this card is basically a walking negate if you do summon it out, and it's just really good as a 1-of. With my single copy of Necroquip Princess, Necroquip is just really good as a 1-of in the build. You basically summon out your copy of Lacrima, and then equip your copy of Requiem to your copy of Lacrima, and then summon out Necroquip, giving you 2 level 6s on your side of the field with your copy of Engraver, so you can step into your copy of Wave High King Caesar. We then play a single copy of Moon. Moon is just a good option, just in case you need it, to basically just summon out to your side of the field, so you can step into your Fiendsmith combo. You can play a single copy of Sequence just in case you want to make a copy of Desiree, and it's just really good in the build overall to basically recycle your resources and step in your copy of your Desiree. We then on to play a single copy of Requiem. Requiem is great in this deck as a 1-of, because this card has the ability that during the main phase you can actually quick effect trade this card to special summon a Fiendsmith monster from your hand or deck, and also you can target one non-link monster that's a light fiend monster you control and equip this card to that monster, which is an insane effect to be able to do, to basically just equip this card to your copy of Lacrima, so you can basically tribute it and then summon out your copy of Necroquip, which is absolutely insane to be able to do. So that's it for the deck, guys. I would enjoy it. This deck is absolutely insane. It's super fun to be able to play with all of the insane cards in this deck, especially with Eclipse Twins now. And Eclipse Twins is just absolutely crazy in this deck, and it's just super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not tried out this deck, you should definitely try it out. It's just absolutely crazy how powerful it is, and it's super consistent and play through so many different hand traps. So that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next videos. See you later, guys.